Okay. This is the Public Safety Committee meeting for Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council, Thursday on July 28th, 2022. So I'm Melanie Reck, I'm the chair. I don't think we have any attendees at this time yet. And so any public comment? Not really.
Nope.
The next thing, remember that save thing, the girl Nicole that came to the meeting about a personal thing.
About the safety?
I'll show you the flyer stuff. Let me change this. Stop the screen share and I'll pull it. Where is her stuff? Let's see. There's that. There's that. Okay, so I don't know if it will go back and forth between these two, but there's this one.
Okay.
So what it is it's personal safety tools, physical defense techniques, all of that. She wants $2,000 for it to do it. The thing is, our budget is so constrictive right now because there's a lot of things going on. I'm concerned about even bringing this to the board right now so soon in the beginning of the fiscal year between elections coming up. Also, since we're going to start being able to do events again, there's going to be a lot of need for like Wildfest and emergency preparedness. You know, the thing that we originally were going to do when COVID hit. We've got a lot of materials that were purchased and things like that we probably should be allocating money to redo that again, which probably would take a higher priority for money wise than this. And so my motion, if it's okay out of this, is to push this back until more springtime, once we're through some of our funds, and relook at it again, whether or not how our funding looks at that time, with any events have been done, requested or anything at that time. Because we're taking away money for extra newsletters for elections and also money to do elections and all that. And a lot of times when it's election year, money's a little shorter. And also with the hybrid thing coming up, we may have to buy equipment. For the hybrid, you know, half in person and half Zoom.
Right.
So what do you think? Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
Do you agree with that? So
I mean, she wasn't even going to do it till like June. That's probably good to maybe if we plan for that like early next summer.
Yeah.
Because we
motion to pause consideration of save program.
Stop, baby.
$2,000.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Until spring, summer next year, when summer relook at it and our budget, our funds, I guess would be. Okay, Mel move. Kelly second.
Yes.
And 2-0 favor. All righty. So, Ray's trying to, just a sec. Hey, Ray.
I'm trying to get in. I can't get in.
You can't get in. Do you have the right number?
I hope so.
874-349-9940.
Hold it. I'm trying to even download the agenda and I can't even pull the agenda down. That's
weird. Okay, the meeting ID, write it down. It's 874.
Hang on. Damn it. Oh, shit. No, I can't get anything.
Yeah. So take the meeting ID down.
What is it?
874.
874.
3499.
3499.
9400.
Okay.
Already?
Thank you.
Okay, so Ray's having problems trying to get on, obviously, you heard. So the next thing, let's go to the share screen. So the Rec and Park Virtual Town Hall, Ray will be coming on to talk about it. Due to what has happened on Sunday,
Right.
what we're going to do is postpone this till October, November time. And taking place of this is going to be the Peck Park Incident Town Hall. We're going to be in charge.
They already had it, didn't they have
No,
that?
we're doing it. Ray promised them at the press conference and also at the meeting that public safety, we would be doing our neighborhood council, our own
Okay, that makes sense.
community forum to address some of the community's concerns.
I don't understand
So-
why they didn't police. If they had it permitted for 100 people, why did they allow 500? And I don't know if that's like
Because it's a totally
more being
different,
announced.
it's a different group that just showed up. They were, the gist that I got of it was some people came for a barbecue and a birthday party or whatever, and more people came and more people came and more people came, and it's just a bunch of people having a Sunday together. And it wasn't a car show, but they all brought their lowriders, and it
So they,
it
so
turned
the car
like
show
a car
wasn't permitted?
thing. Huh?
The car show.
So the
people that were
baseball
there for the
game
car
was
show?
different, and the baseball game was permitted for 100 people, and it's there every Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Different group.
Right. See, but I thought it happened at the baseball game, but.
It happened all over. It happened, the baseball game. At the baseball game is where it started. And I guess there was and then it just continued, but Ray's here. So we'll, let me get him over here. I'm going to promote him to panelist here. There he is. You there, Ray?
Yeah, I'm trying to set up my video. Okay, there I am.
Oh, there we go. So we were just in the middle. We've gotten down to the agenda where we're at the pet park thing. I told her that so the virtual hall is postponed until October, November. And now we're on agenda number Peck Park incident discussion. And also at this point too, we're going where I said we're going to do something with this. We're going to have a planning meeting to be decided in the date that's going to be outside of public safety to plan this, to plan the forum for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's still going to be a public safety thing. It's just that, you know, you can dedicate the time just for this particular planning session.
So we focus totally on this.
So if I don't know, Kelly, if you have a question or do you need any details? Because I was.
She was asking about the shooting and how the difference between the whole group, how 100 turned into 5. And I told her there were 2 different groups.
Yeah.
What I was told and what I understood was that the baseball park is there every Sunday, the game, and they're permitted for 100 people for the baseball game every Sunday. The other group started out, supposedly their version of it that I heard that they did a video recording was that it was a barbecue and a bunch of people got together, and then more people joined and more people joined and more people joined, and people just friends joining friends, but they brought their cars too, and it turned into a bigger event, is what I'm being told, what I understood. And it was kind of confusing. It was hard to hear at that Peck Park thing the other night because it was echoing so bad. You know how Peck Park Auditorium is. It's just horrible for sound. And then it kept freezing up, which was kind of a bummer too. But
yeah, I was really confused because what I mean, of course, what people are saying is It was a thing for gangs to try to eliminate gang rivalry. And it was 100 people were permitted for the baseball game, and it was 500. And the car show was something separate. But I mean, I mean, that's what people are saying. I didn't know. And when the people who asked me, I said, when I know something, I'll let you know. But I didn't know anything other than where I'm staying. There were helicopters over us all day and night because I'm like 2 blocks away from Peck Park. So it was really kind of weird, but I don't know, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what went on with it. It just was kind of, so the car show wasn't a permitted thing. They didn't have permits for their car show.
Let me kind of fill you in as I know it, given what I heard at the police community forum.
Okay.
Now, what was indicated was that this community, they called it a community baseball game or softball game,
Right.
was something that they do pretty regularly on Sundays at Peck Park.
Right.
And that it's permitted. So it's a baseball game that goes on, it's permitted. Now, there was a lot of chatter going on that there was also a car show, and this is how it kind of started going around. There was a car show at the park.
Right.
And the car show started bringing in a much larger group of people. And that's where you started hearing the numbers increase from whoever usually goes to the park for the softball game or baseball game. They started using numbers in and around 500 of attendees. Now, they did say that the violence emanated from 2 individuals who had a problem with each other, and they were at the park and then it just digressed into a shooting match, and that's where people got hurt and killed. The homicide unit was there, and they indicated that they are investigating this as as a homicide.
Right.
So they are so there's not too many details they want to share about what it is that they're doing, but other than the fact that it is a homicide and they're investigating it as such. Not to mention, the total of 9 people were injured, of which 2 of those people were murdered.
Killed.
Yeah.
Did they say multiple shooters? There was multiple shooters?
They said that it seemed to be that there were 2 people shooting at each other, and then people just got caught up in all the stray bullets, I guess. Although they didn't say that, but they did say that there was quite a few different shells on the shell casings all over
the news was reporting 3 shooters, and another news station said 4 shooters, and then they said they were armored, that they were body armored.
I heard that too.
That was indicated that there was the possibility that one of these guys or a couple of these guys came with body armor. But they didn't go into a lot of detail about that.
Yeah. No, they can't.
So they just gave what it is that they were able to share with us. The other part was that they had someone from the fire department. He was sharing, Battalion Chief Moore. He was sharing from the perspective of the fire department, and the fire department said that they actually had, the perception was that it was difficult for the fire department to get into the park because of the number of cars. But what they did share was that the chief stated that there was a car that was shot at and it was disabled, or there was an accident associated with it, and it blocked the entrance to the park, which meant that they actually said that this was kind of like this isn't their word, this is my word, kind of like a blessing because it kept cars from piling out and giving them the ability to access into the park. Now,
Yeah.
they probably were unable to, pull their rigs in, but at least people were able to run in and, and start working on the injured. Now, Parks was there, Deanne Dedman was there, and she talked about the permitting process that this is how I interpreted her presentation. There's a permitting process, but not every event gets permitted. So they have to come to the park, fill out the park forms, and then in turn it goes for review. But it seemed like that isn't something that they do consistently. Now, there was a question as to whether there was park personnel on staff on Sunday. It wasn't really brought up that I heard that there was park personnel there. So the parks weren't necessarily staffed by Rec and Parks.
Right.
The baseball game was permitted. The numbers of people who were associated with the car clubs was not permitted. So these are two, it was identified that these were two separate events, two separate entities that were on the park that day.
Right.
The other thing too, they had the park ranger there, and the park ranger identified the fact that there are 400, and I think he said around 450 parks within the Rec and Parks system in the city of Los Angeles. He said that he has 30 rangers. That's all he has for all the parks. So then eventually he got into his discussion or his justification that he needs to be able to arm his rangers.
Which we supported that. Northwest Neighborhood Council has supported that. We did a support of him arming. Remember, we did that motion and support for it. We did a CIS.
Right, yeah. But that's a very controversial thing. There doesn't appear to be a lot of people that actually support that notion to arm the guard or the park rangers. But that's something that is aside. But essentially there were no park rangers there until the event happened, and then that's when the park rangers started coming in. The responding agencies were LAPD, Port Police, Park Rangers, and Long Beach PD. These were all the law enforcement agencies that were there. And they had quite a few of them. And then it was then trying to, address the needs of the injured. My thing is, and I think Melanie and I, we agree here that there wasn't a whole lot of discussion in and around the what's going to happen moving forward for the parks and their need to be maybe more vigilant in their making sure that all events are permitted. If they reach a certain threshold of attendees.
Right.
Right.
When do they start making people go home when it's too crowded, or what's
Right.
exactly what's
But
the amount of people that create a hazard?
Yeah.
Exactly.
All those are very good questions that were not really identified or talked about.
And the thing is, like I expressed to Ray, you have these big events. Okay, so now they said that they're going to be concentrating on Peck Park, a lot more enforcement there, for a while, et cetera, et cetera. So if they're focusing on Peck Park, are these people going to all of a sudden invade Harbor Highlands Park or go to Averill Park or go to Point Furman Park because now they've been kicked out of there, and they'll just without a permit show up at those parks and start inundating them? And so at some point we've got to tell Rec and Park has to step up and stop this, illegal activity of no permits of these groups coming in. They need to be more responsive at oversight of the parks, making sure that people that are there have permits and have employees on staff there, that if large groups show up, they call LAPD and say, hey, we've got this large group here. You probably need to send, you know, LAPD over here.
Right. Well, when
Because
does it become a-
if they have a large group, they're required, like we tried to have the emergency preparedness thing at Pet Park. It was going to cost us almost $2,000 because they told us we had to pay for an extra employee. We had to pay for security. And we also had to pay for janitorial services in order to have the event and permit for it for over 100 people. It was going to cost us a lot of money. And so that's why we were originally planning it up at Bogdanovich and Dana Friendship Park.
Right.
And so if we're made to meet that threshold, why isn't everybody else?
So it points out the fact that they're very inconsistent as to how they go about requiring permits. So, I mean, that I think that's a very good discussion to be had at a planning meeting as to how you're going to address that at the public forum that we're going to have. Because I did identify, I was the lone representative representing the community at this meeting. So I told them that we will have a community forum that will deconstruct what happened and come up with workable solutions for moving forward. And everything that you guys are talking about, I think, is fair game in suggesting that this is what needs to happen, because seeing all the resources that were played out, yes, on the park, in the park on Sunday, and the fact that I went by the park yesterday to see what kind of resource, or see who was in the park about 4 o'clock yesterday, and there were at least 6 police cars in different spots around the park. I think there was a quad there, and also there was the mounted police that were there on horseback.
Oh, wow.
So there were a lot of resources there. So there's a lot of money being spent as a result of an effort that might have been minimized if they only utilize the power that parks have in permitting these big events. And if they're not permitted and they're that big, then there has to be some kind of enforcement to say,
Disbursement, yeah,
it's
they have
time to go.
disperse.
You gotta go.
Exactly.
So
For everyone's safety, for
Great
everyone's.
question for you. Somebody said that the park was still a mess and not cleaned up from that incident Sunday.
they didn't go into that. They didn't say that.
No, but I just wondered if you
I remember
observed
looking.
that.
I remember looking at the pictures from the news, you know, because they were taking overhead and they were showing all sorts of trash all over the place.
I know. And somebody said that they went yesterday and it was still that way.
I didn't notice that it was messy yesterday. I like I said, I went by there. I didn't see that. I just saw all these cop cars. I saw the horses.
So maybe they cleaned it up now.
You know, what's really sad is this park is a one-way in, one-way out park. It's
Right.
already dangerous in that aspect. It's already had, you know, serious issues with people being mugged and women being raped and all different kinds of stuff over the years. I mean, in my 56 years of living here, I've heard horror stories over the years. It's, you know, it's just not a good park for any kind of anything happening where you'd have to get out. Like you said, I mean, that one car probably blocked everybody from blocking everybody, you know, getting in and out. I can't imagine 500 people in cars being parked there and
Right.
everything happening. It's just, it's really
Well,
sad.
Supposedly they were
happens.
all on the lawns. Had those cars up on the lawns. They had them parked sideways, double parked. It was just slammed in there.
Yeah, I didn't hear any of that. They didn't go into any of that. So
It's sad
so
to me.
anyway, so what I think is important, and Melanie and I were discussing this, Kelly, that we intentionally planned for a meeting for the community to talk and ask these questions and
Yes.
then come up with solutions. But the proper way of doing these types of meetings is already have an idea of what some of these solutions can be, because I
Mhm.
think what can happen when you bring people in together is that you're going to get those people who are going to start saying some really ugly, mean things like it happened when the police did.
Yeah.
You know, they were pointing fingers. They were saying that everybody there were gang members, and you know, that's not true.
Right.
But the thing is that this is how people perceive it, given what they read on social media or what from the newscasts and things like that. So we just got to have a very respectful community forum with our and ask and expect that we as a community, Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council, will be part of that driving force that's going to help instill certain new parameters that perhaps the park needs to be more responsible for.
Right.
So that stuff can be planned. You guys are, you know, can handle that the best way you can.
Identify who we're going to invite.
I'll help you along the way. I mean, I've planned many of these things for community things in my professional work. So I'd be happy to work along with you guys.
Please. Yeah.
But I just wanted to make sure that you all, public safety, and you may want to incorporate maybe issues committee along with you to, you know, to plan this out.
John's on issues, and John said that, you know, we'll kind of partner a little bit with them.
And don't forget, you need to also work with outreach, because of course outreach is going to have to kind of spread out the word. So this is a partnership,
Right.
you know, that's focused on public safety, and I think it's a real good opportunity for Northwest to really shine, coming up with the fact that we're peacemakers, we're peace builders, and we want a peaceful community, and other communities can learn from us. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Anyway, that's just some of the stuff I wanted to just share today. And you guys can go along with the rest of your meeting. And I'll be happy to work along with you guys. Yeah.
Ray, you're going to have to help us too with identifying who you want there.
Yeah, I definitely.
It would be appropriate to be there. I know Deanne Dedman and Mike Singletary, or what? How do you pronounce his name? Sigla.
Are you talking about the
head of the Rec and Parks?
The park rangers?
No, the head of Rec and Park.
Oh, you're talking about Mike
Sigla.
No, the head of the department head of Parks and Rec is Mike Scholl.
Mike Scholl, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And Mike Scholl, and then also head of Park Rangers, I would think.
Sure, I mean, whatever makes sense.
In Joe's office, I would think too. But the problem is he's on his way out, so it's kind of difficult.
Yeah, I was approached by Tim, and he said that he will definitely be there to be in the meeting. Because he's a candidate, I don't think you want him to
be a panelist,
be a part on the panel. You know, he can very well say how he feels, because if you put him in as a panelist, then you really got to make room for Danielle.
You know who's going to show up with him too once she sees it posted.
Yeah. So we got to make this fair and open and transparent for everybody.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm going to go ahead and move on to my next meeting, but I just wanted to give you guys a head up. My next, give you guys a heads up as to what I was thinking, what I shared with the community, and I'd be happy to work along with you guys.
Yeah.
So how soon should we plan this planning meeting? I mean, because we really probably need to get moving on this.
Well, I would say that perhaps maybe you guys can put a tentative date out there, and then you and we can share it, and then perhaps maybe we want to make sure that we get someone from outreach there, youth and outreach, and get someone from community.
I'm on outreach too, so.
Okay, so however you guys want to work it out, but yeah,
so,
come up with a date. Do it whatever makes sense that works for.
Well, we got the September 19th date logged in. Vic already has that held for us right now on the Zoom.
And I would say that let's use that as our tentative date until we're able
Right.
to really make sure that we got a good meeting planned out for these people.
Okay. And
All
then
right.
probably then, if, what date are we on? We're on the 28th. We probably within. So probably within the next 2 weeks, we need to have a planning meeting.
And that, I think that would work. That would work.
Yeah.
So whatever you guys want, whatever I can do to help, let me know. And I'll be right there with you.
Okay.
All righty.
Alrighty.
Thank you so much for
Good.
your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you.
Okay.
diligence with this.
I'll talk to you guys later.
Talk to you later.
Alrighty. Thanks,
Okay.
Ray.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
I gotta check my oven real quick.
Let's see.
Cooking some lemon chicken. Well, I want it for this
Street
style.
vendors. So the update on the street vendors is they're gone.
Yeah, I haven't seen them. Did they get rid of, did they ask them to move or what happened? I know they were supposed to go out there and enforce it on June 20th or something, and then he wouldn't tell us the date.
They're moved from, they went out to the one on Capitol in front of Target.
Right.
He went out there because now they were told and instructed that they can enforce the 4118 for street vendors.
Uh-huh.
And also ADA compliance and all that. And they were non-ADA compliance on the sidewalk. They were pouring the grease into the gutters of
Oh, wow.
there on the street. People were stopping and parking there. They took down the signs that say no stopping, no parking at any time, the city signs.
Uh-huh.
So basically, Ike went over there and told them they needed to pack up and leave, or he was going to cite them and throw their food away and everything. And so he told them they cannot come back there, or he's going to cite them every time that they come. And the fines are going to be big because now he can cite them on the ADA like infractions and all of that. So yeah, so they're gone and they have not been back.
Yeah, I haven't seen them.
The fruit guy has been gone too, over on Myler and Capitol. All of a sudden, he hasn't been around. I don't know about the one on Westmont. I know I saw a guy up the other day though on Channel and Myler, up by Ray's corner down over there. I'm not sure by your place if they're still there at all.
They haven't been by 7th Street. I know that they've been by Taper, but not by us.
Yeah, the Taper one, I'm not sure. I'll have to find out from Vic. I don't think they've been back there either because they got them there too.
Yeah.
The guy is still up at the DMV, but that's fine in front of DMV. It's a wider sidewalk and it's easier for people to pull in DMV, get what they want, or 7-Eleven, and then it doesn't cause a safety hazard.
Right.
As far as the fireworks thing, so one of the concerns that was brought up in the community is everybody was calling in the fireworks the night of 4th of July. And they continued on, they didn't stop. And even after people calling in and reporting it, no cops came, no nothing when they reported. And so I brought it up at CPAB.
Uh-huh.
And I told him how difficult it is for us to encourage, as neighborhood watch block captains, to encourage people to report things like the fireworks if there's no effect of the calls that they do. If they call in and nothing happens, then they're like, it's a waste of my time to call it in and report it and be on hold to call it in, and then nothing happens. Why am I bothering? And so they said they're addressing that for next year.
Well, that's good.
So they said this year they were able to seize a lot of stuff before 4th of July came, to stop it.
Yeah, they did do that. I know that.
you know, the sellers and the people that are bringing the stuff here to sell to people.
Yeah.
They confiscated a lot of fireworks prior to the 4th of July. So that helped it kind of reduce some of it, but it's still a war zone over here.
I was in Harbor City, and coming back on Wilmington, I was like, oh my God, it was like a war zone. And
You could see it from Wilmington over here.
I was in Harbor City, so coming back on the 110,
Yeah.
Wilmington was completely covered. And then San Pedro, there's just a certain area of San Pedro which is over by you know, when you come off the freeway over to the right over there, in that area over there,
Yeah.
tons
Yep.
over there. Tons.
That's where I live, and it was bad. There's fireworks everywhere.
And it was like being in a war zone. I live by a lot of fishermen, and there's always the seal controls and the loud bangs and stuff. My poor dogs hate it.
Wow.
And it's you know, and they start early, and they were still going. They're still going. I still hear fireworks every couple days. And then it'll finally completely taper off, and then we won't hear it for, you know, and then it'll start again in May. So I don't know. I don't know how I know there was a lot more sirens this year, so I don't know if there was a lot more fires or there was injuries or what it was. But when I came home, there was, I don't know how many sirens I saw, how many,
Yep. There was a fire at Peck Park, at Hernandez
okay.
Ranch. And what was crazy is Chris Balnuck was filming it, the fire.
Uh-huh.
And as he's filming the fire, you know, and everything, the response to it to put it out in Hernandez Ranch, you look right to his left, and some dum-dum is shooting fireworks off still. Tons of them right next to where they're trying to put out the fire. It's like you've got to be kidding me. It's like, wow.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know how, I don't know how you can. I know one year I was coming home from a friend's house, and the street was so covered in fireworks and people out in the middle of the street. It was really scary to drive your car.
I believe it. Yeah, down by my mom's house, it's that way.
Yeah.
In lower below Pacific where she lives, and it's crazy. It gets really bad where there's so much out in the street and everything that you're afraid to drive your car down the street, you know, and everything. One time I went to fireworks when I lived down there. I went to fireworks over this several years ago. I went to fireworks over at to watch them over by the DoubleTree with my daughter. And when we were coming home, it's like, it was like, oh my God, you know, trying to get in the street to go park our car and everything. It was nuts.
Yeah, and it's not getting any better. I don't know how they could stop it. I just don't understand why the police aren't, but I mean, there's just not enough police. Bottom line is there's just not enough police to be in all the areas.
There isn't. There's not enough to respond to it and patrol everything else too. There's 10 cop cars, of which and they're distributed all over Harbor area. So we're talking Harbor City, Harbor Gateway, you know, all of Wilmington, you know, and then coastal and central, and then over here. It's a large mass to cover with that limited amount of officers. You know, at one time there's like maybe 10 officers on. So they have planned to increase the numbers of officers. They got budgeted to increase by, I think I've got the figures, I'll have to pull them up. They've been able to increase in officers, but it's going to take a year because they have to hire them and go through the academy, and then get put into force.
Right. You know, I wish they could use some kind of drone or some kind of something to see it and then ticket it at the houses where it's happening.
Right.
You know, I mean, in you know, it's funny because like in New Jersey, if you're driving erratically or you're not driving well or whatever, your neighborhood can tell them what's going on, and they'll mail you the citation.
Oh, wow.
And I thought that was the you know, weirdest thing, because my friend got a ticket because somebody said he was going too fast down their street.
Oh,
And I
wow.
thought, wow, why can't we do that in California? You know, but I mean, I would want the burden of proof, you know, and stuff, but I mean, there's drones, there's cameras, there's helicopters. They can put helicopters up high enough to see where it is and ticket those areas. I don't know.
So I talked to Gwen, and the Wild Fest emergency prep event, we really want to do it again. But the problem is Dana, where we were going to do it originally up on the hill, they've changed their whole program. So they aren't allowing like any outside event type things like this. They have their own like agenda of things that they're doing, and they have to be in conform with that. So Gwen says we may not be able to do it up there. So then it comes to working with Peck Park to possibly do it there, which might be a good idea after all of this has gone down, to bring refreshing. But the problem is I don't want them trying to charge us, like I said, $2,000 to have it there. Yeah. To have all the access, like coverage for it, staff as well as all that. And what would have to happen probably is it would have to be waived by either whoever the councilman is at the time, if, either Tim or whomever,
right,
have to waive it at the time that we did it, the fees, which I'm sure Tim would. But
we need to have fire safety, especially in that park because of the way it's situated.
Right. So having emergency prep there, an event, would be like amazing. And also the Wild Fest thing. I think that probably is a really good idea at this point to do it at Peck Park. It really needs to have more positive events there.
Yeah.
And to help revitalize it to a positive type thing rather than a negative thing. We've got to do all we can to support it.
Yeah, Peck Park is
so, and I don't know, generally this type of event, we've tried to plan it for like April, May time. So that's where I'm thinking we're headed again still, is April, May.
That's coming up so quick already. Can you believe that?
Huh?
I can't believe how quick this year is going. It's like,
I know.
I've got 18 more days before I go back to work. Excuse me, let the dog out. Oh. You want to go outside?
Oops.
So what do we have to do to put that on an agenda?
Nothing. It's just tentative that we're planning on doing it. And what we'll have to do is once we confirm when we can do it, then we have to request money if we need it. We've got a lot of stuff. We're going to have print flyers, and we'll need to redo the banners again, because the banners say DN Dana Friendship Park and all that. So we're going to need a little bit of money for it. But right now I have like 500 zip drives to hand out to people for public safety to put all their emergency documents on.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
That we can hand out. So that's going to be our handout for that event that we still have from before. Gwen has a bunch of stuff already too. So a lot of her stuff left over from when we were going to do it originally. The only thing we're going to have to redo are the flyers.
Right.
And the banners,
okay,
which is going to be about $500 probably for everything for those.
We should see if we could get them done by Willenberg. See how much they'll charge us.
Do they do stuff like that?
Yep.
Okay.
That's part of their
But Gwen does phenomenal in graphics. She's really good. She did the flyer from before. I'd like to keep the same flyer that she did again and just put in the new park and new dates.
Yeah,
I love the flyer from before, so we wouldn't have to recreate the wheel on it.
Exactly. That makes sense.
So
Well, yeah,
hopefully-
let's get it going.
and then we can just, on the other side was like a map of where everything was going to be. We'll just have to redo that, and we'll have to probably scale it down to what we were going to have before. You know,
Right.
but we can revisit. I've got everything still. We can revisit that, scan it in and look at it and revisit the whole thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But anyway, but other than that, there's nothing else. I mean, we just, right now, I think as long as we're all in it to do it, that we want to do this, I think it's really necessary to do. This is more important, I think, than doing the other thing right now, because we're in an earthquake zone.
Oh, yeah.
You know, people need to know what to do to prepare for earthquake, as well as we're in a, you know,
Well,
and
we're such dry right now too, that the fires are really
dry. We really need LAWP out there. We need the fire department out there, you know, have all kinds of representation. LAWP needs to talk about water conservation with the
They have
drought
some
going
really
on.
neat- There's some really neat things they got going on their website. My friend's been taking classes.
Well, I know they really need to come and talk about it, though. They need to come out, and we could utilize Peck Park Auditorium then to have like little, like they can do, American Red Cross does these mini like first aid type, emergency first aid type classes. They could set that up in Peck Park in the auditorium, where they do these mini like little classes in there, as well as a presentation from CERT could do something too.
Yeah, that would be
You
good.
know, so that would be great if we could do all of that, or even outside, you know, set up an easy up for them to do it under, you know.
Right. And we also have
anyway.
Weymouth Corners coming up again too soon.
Right, at Christmas.
Yeah.
Yep. In the parade again.
Yeah, hopefully. Last year I was sick. I didn't get to go to the parade, and I was really looking forward to it.
I was gone. I was out of town, so it'll be interesting to do it again, you know. The trolley's always fun to do too.
I was really excited. I really wanted to go, and then I don't remember why, but I mean, I don't know how I got sick, but I got really sick right before it was time to go. And that wasn't when I had COVID, so I got my 4th COVID shot today and my tetanus shot. I don't know why I decided to do it together, but I wanted to get it done before school went, you know, before school started again. So I took a nap this afternoon. I feel okay. I just think I'm tired.
Ted got his COVID shot. He's had long COVID, and so he got his COVID shot last night, his 4th booster, and he's feeling pretty cruddy today and last night.
Yeah, see, I'm hoping. I haven't had any reaction to any of the shots. This is my 4th too, so I haven't had any reactions to it. So I'm hoping. But I thought when I fell and I hurt my knees really bad, they wanted to give me the tetanus shot, and I'm like, "Are you kidding? I can't stand. How am I going to walk and have my arm? You know,
oh God,
pain." So today I went ahead and got it done because, you know, I'm scared to death of all of that stuff. And I always keep immunized because I work with kids.
Yep.
So
yep, you have to.
I feel okay.
My doctor wants to go get the new tetanus, or not new tetanus, the new pneumonia shot.
Oh, is there a different one? I've had the other one.
There's a brand new one. So
I'm glad I got that, because you know what? I think having all of those different shots really helped me not have such a bad case of COVID.
Yep, it helps.
I think it did.
So I'm going to stop the recording. So
okay.
This ends the Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council Public Safety meeting. Our next meeting is August 25th at 5:30 p.m.
How is John? Is he home yet, or I need to call him?
No.
I feel bad. He's not home yet.
Whoops, where is, okay, stop recording.